Hi, I'm David Huynh, and I'd like to share my testimony of how I came to Christ. Um, Growing up my whole life, I didn't have a lot of friends. I was very shy. I was kind of nerdy and just didn't know how to talk to people. I was very introvert. And that was kind of my life through middle school, high school, college even. And after I graduated college, I wanted to become popular and have more friends and things like that, become more social. And so I started going out more, learning how to talk to people and how to make friends and things like that. And I started going out, bars, clubs, ended up doing nightclub promotions and started my own promotion company, became very successful at it, and had a lot of friends, had a lot of attention, knew a lot of people. And it was fun at the moment, drinking a lot, partying all the time, and I was finally popular, right? And I just realized that it was every night going out, kind of doing the same thing over and over. It was fun in the moment, and then waking up in the morning feeling really bad and having to do it all over again, just to kind of get that fulfillment, just for that short period of time. And so I was really in the industry and into the music and the culture. And I started to see how music and the whole industry started to get a little bit darker and more demonic in nature. And to me, I just thought it was kind of a trend and how the industry was going to be more cool and kind of edgy. So I started doing a little bit more research. So being kind of the nerd that I was, I just started researching, what was going on with the music industry as a whole. And you hear about these things about, the Illuminati and all these different things. I don't know if you're familiar, but there are artists and executives in the music industry and in the media that believe in darker powers, and that's where they get their success, and they pray to these spirits, and they do all these sorts of rituals and things like that. And I was like, these people are crazy. You hear about these really high profile celebrities that believe in this stuff, and they sign a deal, with Satan, basically selling their soul for fame and fortune. And I just thought they were crazy. I didn't really believe in it. I was very skeptical in nature. I had to see something to believe it. I was very logical, and when I read this stuff, I was like, these people are crazy. I don't understand. But I was intrigued. I was obviously seeing this trend in popular culture, and so I researched it for, I'd say, probably 2 weeks or so. At about the same time, I started having crazy night terrors, nightmares like you wouldn't believe. They weren't just bad dreams, but they were really dark, and so I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep for 2 weeks. I had to sleep with the lights on, and I would be fearful to fall asleep because I would experience these things. I would wake up to shadows in my room, really scary stuff that I couldn't explain. I didn't believe in spirits or ghosts or that kind of stuff, but I was experiencing them. So, there were nights when I'd fall asleep and wake up screaming at the top of my lungs, and I just couldn't understand it. It never happened before. I was in my late 20s, and, that's just unusual, right? As an adult. And there was one night I actually fell asleep with the lights on, and I felt my spirit come out of my body, and I could see myself lying in bed, and my dog was next to me, the lights were on, and I was very much awake and very alert, more so than I am right now. And it was a really scary experience, and I didn't know what was going on, and it probably lasted about 30 seconds tops, and it was the most terrifying moment of my life. And at that time, I still wasn't a believer. I still didn't know what was going on. And I somehow managed to get my spirit or soul back into my body, and I couldn't explain what was going on. So about the same time, a buddy of mine that I used to do nightclub promotions with wanted to meet up and wanted to talk about worldly things, let's say that. And so we got together and decided to grab dinner. And before we started talking, I was just like, what's all this stuff you're posting on Facebook about Jesus and about God and all this stuff? I knew him from before, And he was in the same lifestyle that I was in, and, partied a bunch, and kind of had, it seemed like he had everything he wanted. He made good money, and we all did, And he told me his testimony about how, Jesus saved him. He almost got arrested, and he was praying in the back of a cop car, and the cop was supposed to take him to jail, but ended up letting him go and taking the handcuffs off of him and told him to pay his fines and clear, the suspension on his record. And he told me, like, he went to the DMV, tried to get everything cleared up. He couldn't find any record in his file, and he was clear to go. And he knew that at that time Jesus was very real, and I told him kind of what was going on with me, and kind of the night visitations I was getting and the crazy stuff that was happening in my life. And he says, you need to come to church with me. And I was open to it. I said, okay, all right, this Sunday I'll come to church with you and check it out. I still didn't know exactly what was going on. So I went to church with him that following Sunday, and it's the same church I still go to now. And I swear, I sat down, didn't expect anything, and the entire sermon was directed straight to me. Like, every single question I had in my mind as the pastor was speaking, he was answering them right away. Like, every single question. How to be a new believer, how to pray in Jesus' name, all this stuff. And I was just like, that's a strange coincidence, right? And at the end, they did an altar call. And my friend was like, you should go up there, just get prayed for. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll go up there, kind of just play along. And the pastor's Thai, and so he knows that most of the people that come to the church are Thai. But it's an international church, there's all sorts of people that come. But when he came and he prayed for me, he started, praying over me in Thai. And I was just like, oh, that's cute. Like, he thinks I'm Thai. I'll just kind of like stand here and be nice. And all of a sudden he stops. And then he starts praying over me in English. And he says, God says, you're not here by accident. He's brought you here for a reason. Like, and I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. Okay, like, he knows I'm new and all this stuff. And I was like, I didn't really think much of it. And then I was just like, wow, that's great. And then all of a sudden, actually, I went up to get prayed for twice because my friend's like, you should go up again. And so I did. And the second time I got prayed for, like, I felt like a physical weight came off my shoulders. Like, all the oppression that I was feeling and the nightmares and all that kind of stuff that I was dealing with the last few weeks, it all went away. And I just felt this joy and this peace come over me that I couldn't explain. It surpassed all understanding, and I just didn't know what was going on. But I knew I was feeling joy and happiness, and I hadn't felt that way. And the best way I can explain it is, when you're a little kid and you wake up and you're so excited for the day, you have no worries, no cares. You want to go play, and you just feel so much happiness and joy. There's no stress or anything in your life. And I hadn't felt that way since I was a little kid. And I was like, there's something to this. I still didn't know, I just I personally went through it, and I personally feel it, and I can explain it, and I'm so used to just having explanations for everything. And then so my pastor, he came over to me, and he said, when I first came over to pray for you, I thought you were Thai, but then God told me that you weren't Thai, and that's why I switched to English. And I was like, that's crazy, right? And so he's like, he was kind of introducing me to everything. He had me pray to accept Jesus because I agreed to, and it's just that joy, I can't even explain it. And he says, do you want to receive the heavenly language to speak in tongues? And I was like, what is this stuff? Like, I don't understand this. And so he prayed for me to speak in tongues, and sure enough, like, my mouth started moving. I couldn't control it, and it was kind of silly for me at first, but I was like, I didn't understand any of it, And that was kind of my first experience, and I was able to go to sleep and sleep peacefully, and all that stuff went away, and I thought God told me stop researching all this demonic stuff I was looking up at, and to keep my eyes on him. And I, being the skeptic that I was, I said, God, I know I went through this, and I know it's real, but if I read through the Bible and I find any contradictions, and if I study, the history of Jesus and his life and everything, and I find out it's not real, then I can't believe it. I can't live the rest of my life believing this is not real. And so I did, more research, and I found out, Jesus really died. He was a real person, and his life, and there's evidence for his resurrection, and the more I read the Bible, the more I was believing that God was real. And I just knew it was true in my heart. I would pray, and God would answer my prayers. I could go into stories about how he's restored my family, and how he got me out of the bad things that I was doing. And I quit a lot of stuff that I used to do, and it's just incredible. I guess I could go into testimonies of all those other things, but